Hello to the hockey family. It is Monday, February the 2nd. We actually had a nice cold weekend here in Charleston. We actually got a little bit of snow, a little bit.
A little bit.
Would have been nice to have a couple more inches,
Yeah.
which they'd called for.
Yeah, my kids are just getting, like you said earlier, uh, trying to make snowballs, just getting like leaves and little
Yeah,
twigs and
yeah.
stuff more than snow.
What you could do.
Yeah, my daughter spent about 3 hours and actually made a 2 foot in diameter.
Yeah.
Um,
And the color of that snowball speaks to how hard it
yeah,
was.
yeah, she worked hard.
Yeah.
But
No, no, that's
yeah,
not surprising. Yeah, it would have been nice to get a couple. They were calling for like 2 to 4 inches, which would have been just awesome because
yeah,
my little guy hit too. He would have loved to have a little fun. But anyways,
yeah.
so great stadium series game
Awesome
last
game.
night.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the whole thing. I turned it on. It was like when I turned it off, it was a 4 goal deficit.
yeah,
And turned on the highlights this morning to see that Tampa came back from that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, good game. Good goalie play.
goalie scrap.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots to watch there. So fun for the fans. This week, well, at the end of the week, so Sunday, I fly out, but so all next week I'll be kind of through the West,
hmm,
mostly Western Canada. So flying into Vancouver, then out to Calgary, Winnipeg, a little trip down to North Dakota, and
yeah.
then back up and fly out of Winnipeg.
That'll
So
be a nice warm trip for you.
yeah, be beautiful. So I will have to go digging through my warm clothes stash for that. But so looking back last week, there was no Fed rate cut, but a busy week in the markets.
Yeah, yeah, busy week. And maybe we'll just start with the Fed. So no Fed rate cut, but we did receive a new Fed chair nominee. All right. So, there were some that were concerned with, the Federal Reserve kind of losing its independence, maybe becoming a bit too political. This Fed chair nominee pick should ease some of those concerns. Okay. So Kevin Warsh, um, is the nominee. Yeah, it looks like just from what I've read from kind of some independent sources, it looks like he should have no problem being confirmed through the Senate. Um, this is a guy that served on the Fed board earlier in his career, so he does have a respect for the committee, and should maintain some of that independence. And really, the best way to see that isn't like opinions; it's like look at the actual market reaction. All right, so you saw the U.S. dollar get considerably stronger on that news into the end of the week, which goes to tell, like, yes, he should be more like dovish, more accommodative with like lower interest rates, but not as dovish as the market was expecting. Okay, and so it's always at the margin what moves markets, and so you saw the U.S. dollar get a little bit stronger on that news, which that can kind of domino into some other market effects. So the one that we have to touch on is gold and silver, like commodities, right? So when you get a stronger U.S. dollar, that's going to put pressure on commodities in U.S. dollars, right? So gold, silver, and this is just a good kind of teaching point. I've been a student of markets now for well over 2 decades, and sometimes like the asset class or the stock, like it changes, but the behavioral, like the human biases and the mistakes that you see investors make, like that doesn't change. All right, so anytime you have so in this case, like gold or silver, you have an asset class that underperformed for a really long time. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, like gold had a 0% return from the year 2011, like all the way to 2024. All right. So in silver, even longer than that. So when you go 13 to 14 years with a 0% gain, again, in the same time period, like obviously most equity markets have quadrupled in that time. So that means like that asset class is going to be very under owned. Right. So when you have an asset class that does nothing for a really long time, then all of a sudden it has like a really good year, like it did last year. Gold, silver, really good year last year. And then you get the news networks talking about it. Then you get the retail investors jumping in, piling in. We even had a couple clients reach out about it in the last week. So gold, it's up, 5,700, 57, US dollars an ounce, hitting all-time highs. And then the dollar just gets a little stronger. Maybe it's because of the Fed nominee. Also, I read that there were some discussions, maybe some geopolitical, de-escalation with President Trump had visited with Iran. But whatever the case, like all of a sudden it's like boom, and you have gold, move lower from like 5,700 an ounce down to 40, so losing like $1,000 an ounce. You saw silver go from 120 down to 80, losing a third of its value in like 2 days. So just really big moves. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch on crypto because that's even a bigger mess on some of this right now. But maybe like teaching point, it's almost always a bad idea to be reactionary in markets, right? That's just almost always a bad idea. So main point being, like, have a proactive plan in place, like what we do, just systematic rebalancing, kind of have your target asset allocations and like rebalance around those so you don't get swung around and get beat up. Like, unfortunately, you saw a bunch of retail investors get plugged in at the top of gold and silver.
Yeah.
Sorry for that rant, but that was
Well,
that was good teaching
yeah,
points,
it was.
right?
You're not wrong. It was a busy, hectic week. So, looking forward here. Obviously, a few more games, in the NHL, and then off to the Olympics. So, good luck to all you guys that are playing over there, and then for the rest of you, have a fun and safe Olympic break. And I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing you guys on the road.
Awesome. Have a great week, guys.